Hello and welcome to the 13th class of the Absolute Beginner Spanish course on SpanishIsGreat.com. In this class we are going to study the definite and indefinite articles. We are going to see that articles is pretty much the and a, so it's quite easy. We are going to learn the basics of the Spanish articles. Okay, so and why am I saying this like the basics? What's hard about learning the and what's hard about learning a? Well, there are some difficulties which we are not going to learn just now. Okay, this is actually quite a complex thing. I mean, pretty much like at least like 90% of the stuff about articles, it's more or less the same as in English. But then there is this 10% which can be quite complex. Okay, so for now we are just going to study in this class this 90%, like the 90 most important percent thing about articles. Okay, let's go. No, let's stop talking. Let's learn some articles. First, definite article. Okay, the definite article is the equivalent of the English article the, and is used to talk about things which are already known through context because they have already been mentioned, etc. So this is something that you don't actually have to learn because this is pretty much the same as in English. No, when do you use the in this context? No, like among others, but pretty much the. Okay. Now. We are going to see, but when we use the in English, we usually, like most of the times when we use the in English, we would use el, la, los, las in Spanish. So when we use the definite article in English, we will use the definite article in Spanish. So it's easy. We don't have to learn the context. ¿Vale? While in English, we have only the form the, in Spanish, we need to use the form of the article which agrees. Remember, this agreement, agree, we were talking about this a few classes ago, So we have to use the form of the article which agrees with the noun it is introducing, both in gender and in number. So masculine, feminine, singular, plural, okay? So I was saying, in English, we only have the, and that's it. In Spanish, we have el, la, los, las, El, masculine singular, la, feminine singular, los, masculine plural, las, feminine plural. Okay, this is not so hard, So, for example, we would say padre, which is father, so masculine singular, so el padre. Madre, which is mother, so feminine singular, la madre. Hijos, which is sons, so masculine plural, so los hijos. Hermanas, which is sisters, so feminine plural, so las hermanas. See, so in English we have the for everything. In Spanish we have these four forms, but we just have to use the form which agrees with the gender and number of the noun. Okay, and again, when we were studying adjectives, I was saying like, I know that in English, because there is, when we were studying gender, in Spanish, and I was saying like, I know that this gender thing is a bit hard for English speakers because there is like no grammatical gender in English, but well, there is in Spanish, so we have to get used to it. Okay, so just that. Then, for example, imagine that it's amigo, friend, So amigo, it would be el amigo, la amiga, So the girlfriend, La amiga, los amigos, las amigas. Okay, quite easy, let's say. Then, indefinite article. We have seen the definite article, the equivalent of the. Now, as you can imagine, the indefinite article is the equivalent of the English article a or and, okay? Which is used when it is the first time we mention something or it is not known yet by the listener, etc., etc. Okay, so pretty much we use the indefinite article in Spanish when we would use the indefinite article in English. So it's easy. Now, also with the indefinite articles, we must choose the form which agrees with the noun. Okay, and what are these forms? They're here. Un for masculine singular, una for feminine singular, unos for masculine plural, unas for feminine plural. So we see that it's pretty much the same, no? It's like la, los, las, el. Then una, unos, unas, un. So in general, I would say it's quite simple. So we would say un perro, no? A male dog. Una gata, a female cat. Unos caramelos. And here we can see that in English there is no such thing as like caramels. Okay? In English it would be something like some caramels. Okay, so whenever we say some whatever in plural, then in Spanish usually is unos. And then again, no? Unas manzanas, some apples. Okay? So again, quite easy. This is the most basic part. So just remember the, el, la, los, las, a, un, una, unos, unas. Okay? Now, of course, exceptions. There is one important exception for both articles. So it's pretty much the same exception which applies to both. Okay? Which we have to apply only when all of the following factors appear. Okay? So we have 4 factors. And when we have all of them, then the exception happens. Okay, so what is it? The article is followed by a noun. Okay, so it doesn't work if it's followed by an adjective and a noun. No, only if it's followed immediately by a noun. Okay. Now, this noun is feminine. This noun is singular. And this noun begins with a stressed a. Okay? We'll see. When all of these factors concur, we do not use the forms la o una, but el o un. Okay? So, what's the thing? Here, alma. Alma is soul. And we see that alma ends with a. So, it's feminine. It's feminine. So, we see. It's a noun. It's a noun. It's feminine. It's feminine. It's singular. Singular. Begins with a stressed a. Alma, alma, okay? Alma. Then, like, it should be la alma or una alma. But no, exception, so el alma or un alma. The same, for example, hada. Hada is like a fairy, okay? And here, of course, we know that the H is mute. We don't pronounce the H in Spanish. So even if we write an H, but the sound, the first sound of the word is a. And this a is stressed because it's hada. Okay? So it's pretty much the same. We have a noun which is feminine, which is singular, which begins with stressed a. So it's el hada or un hada. Okay? However, here we have alumna. Okay, now alumna, like student, no, like I mean here like there is in English, no, like this alumni, which is not exactly the same, but okay, student, not pupil, whatever. So we have a noun. It is feminine. It is singular, but the a is not stressed because it's alumna. So this works. This works. This works. This doesn't work. So no exception at all. Okay, so it's la alumna, una alumna, normal, no exception. Here we have la harina, flour. Flour not as in flour, but flour for bread, whatever, no? La harina. So here again we have a noun which is feminine, which is singular, but again, no stress a, because it's harina. Okay, so la harina, normal. Then, la alta torre. Here we have torre. It's a noun. It's feminine. Torre is tower. Okay. noun, feminine, singular. Now, torre doesn't begin with a stressed A, but there is this alta. Alta is high, not the high tower. But alta is not an adjective. It's not a noun, it's an adjective. And we say the article is followed immediately by a noun. So here, there is no immediately a noun. So alta doesn't count in the exception because it's an adjective. No, it has to be a noun, okay? So la alta torre, normal. And then, for example, almas, again, alma, souls, no? So las almas, unas almas. Why? Because it's a noun, it's feminine, begins with stressed a, but it's plural. So it doesn't have this rule, so no exception. Okay, so las almas o unas almas. Okay, and just to finish, using the articles. Actually, the most difficult part about articles is knowing when to use the definite or indefinite one. Luckily, there is a 90% similarity between Spanish and English, so this is not so hard. For example, if you know Russian people or Polish people or whatever, you will see that they always make mistakes with articles. They don't use articles when they should, or they just use random articles wherever. Because in Polish, in Russian, they don't have articles at all. So they don't know when to use the or when to use a. No? So, and actually, that's the most difficult part. But you are lucky because it's pretty much like almost the same in Spanish and in English. When to use the, when to use a, when to use definite, when to use indefinite. Okay? Most of the times, you will use the Spanish definite or indefinite articles just in the same context you would in English. Okay, so you are lucky there. Up there. However, there are some differences, most of which you have to learn as they appear. So you have to be paying attention. You have to be paying attention whenever you are reading, whenever you are listening, whenever you are practicing your Spanish. If you see that a native uses articles in a different way that you would expect in English, then pay attention and try to keep it in your mind, okay? So let's see. I mean, these are just like a few examples just to illustrate, okay? I'm not giving rules because rules about articles, I was saying this is one of the most abstract things, okay? But just like a few examples. Los españoles no son muy puntuales. So we see, los españoles no son muy puntuales. In English, we would translate this. Spaniards are not very punctual. So we say in English, Spaniards. We don't say the Spaniard. We could, no, depending on the context. But like when we are just like generalizing, in English we say Spaniards. In Spanish, we would always say los españoles. We would never say españoles no son muy puntuales. That's wrong. Okay, so there's one difference there. Another difference. El español es una lengua interesante. We would translate this. Spanish is an interesting language. So again, we wouldn't say in English the Spanish is an interesting language. Okay? So again, there is a difference there. Then, for example, la belleza no es la característica más importante de las personas. Okay, so we would translate this. Beauty is not the most important characteristic of people. So we see that we have this la belleza, beauty. No, beauty is like an abstract concept. So in Spanish, we put the definite article. In English, we don't have definite article for that, no? Beauty, because it's like abstract, no? And then like de las personas, of people, no? So again, no article in English because it's like generalizing. So you see that when we generalize in English, we don't use any article. In Spanish, we use the definite article. Or for example, los perros necesitan más atención que los gatos. So again, we are generalizing. So dogs need more attention than cats. Of course, we could say the dogs need more attention than the cats. But if we say that in English, there is a difference, no? I mean, you should know because you speak the language, no? So there is a difference when you say the dogs need more attention and when you say dogs need more attention. When you say dogs need more attention, you mean dogs, generalizing. When you say the dogs need more attention, you are referring to some specific dogs, no? But in Spanish, we don't have that distinction. In Spanish, this means both things, like dogs in general or these specific dogs. Okay? Okay, so these are just some examples just to illustrate that some of the differences. But in general, 90% of the times when you use the in English, you will use el, la, los, las. When you use a in English, you will use the indefinite. Un, una, unos, unas. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. Articles, definite, indefinite, not so hard. And see you in the next lesson.